Listen, if your chocolate cake does not bounce and jiggle like this, girl, don't eat it. In today's recipe, I'm going to show you exactly how you're going to get that. I am going to be using today a special, never used before box cake mix. So without wasting much of your time, let's get right into today's video. Welcome back, guys. So as you guys know, we're going to start off with a clean bowl, and y'all, this is the star of the show. I am going to be using this Duncan, Hines and Dolly collaboration box cake mix, and y'all, this was my first time ever with this video trying out this, and it has instructions on the back. So let's see how much of the instructions on the back that I'm going to follow. And I'm going to be using a bundt pan today, by the way. So yeah, in a bowl, I'm going to start off with my dry ingredients, which in this case is the box cake mix. Now this box cake, I noticed, is a little bigger. I think it's about a little over 17 ounces compared to the Duncan Hines, which is about 15 ounces. So it's just for you, it's an FYI. So I go ahead and sift it just to remove any lumps, and it did have some lumps, but it was okay. And y'all, this is something that I tweak. I always like to do this with my chocolate cakes. I added a little bit of the Ghirardelli dark cocoa powder. This is rich, decadent, real chocolate powder, and I added 2 tablespoons of that into it, and I just run it through my sifter as well. This just add a lot of that richness to the cake. Now mind you, this is Mansa's touch to the recipe on the back of the box. So those are our dry ingredients, no pudding mix today. And now in another bowl, I'm going to start with our wet ingredients. The recipe calls for 4 eggs. So I typically use 4 eggs, so I'm sticking with that. And it also calls for 8 tablespoons of butter, which is equivalent to half a cup. And I always use unsalted butter. This Kerrygold is my favorite. I like that for my box cake recipes. It also requests for 1.5 cups of water, but y'all know I'm never going to do that. So instead, I'm using 1.5 cups of whole milk at room temperature. It also does ask for 2 tablespoons of oil. I ended up using 3 tablespoons of oil. Even though I only showed 2, I used 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and I also added a healthy splash of vanilla. And yeah, those are my wet ingredients. I went in with my whisk to incorporate everything so that it will be easy to mix everything together. Now it's time to add dry ingredients. I'm just gonna go in there, and per usual, I am using my hand mixer. You can go ahead and use your whisk. It would do the same thing, just that this one is faster and I'm used to using it. So I'm going in with my hand mixer, and I just follow the instructions on the back of the box. I mix on low speed a little bit, and then I increase it. And I use my spatula to incorporate it as I'm mixing it. That way I'm not over mixing. If you guys, this is your first time on this channel, you are absolutely welcome. I have not filmed a recipe in quite a bit, so I'm trying to get back into the groove of things, y'all. And I hope you guys stick with me. Thank you for your patience as usual. As you can see, the dry ingredients have been well incorporated into the wet ingredients, and now it is time to prepare a pan. I always use a baking spray, and this is Baker's Joy, and it contains flour in it, so it's going to help your cake not stick. This bundt pan has a lot of nooks and crannies, so you need to make sure that you're going in there with your brush to get everything so that your cake does not get messed up. You want it to come out whole and pretty. By now, my oven is already preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is my usual baking time for my box cake mixes, and I'm just dumping everything in there. If you guys are enjoying this video, please go ahead and give your girl a thumbs up. It really helps me out with the algorithm. You know, it's crazy out there on the streets of YouTube these days. So you know how we do it. We pop it, drop it, release them air bubbles, and into the oven it goes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 minutes. I actually set my timer, and at the end of the 35-minute mark, I went in there and my cake was absolutely perfect. Yo, when I tell you, just an observation from using this for the first time, it just smelled like coffee so much. And I read the ingredients. It does not say that it has coffee, but I'm telling you, I smell the coffee, and I could swear I taste the coffee, but I smell it more than anything. So I'm going to let this cake sit for 10 minutes. You hear me? 10 minutes in the pan, and then this is exactly 10 minutes later. Now I'm going to invert it and let it continue cooling down. Let me tell you, don't be scared. If you prepare your pan well and you have a good high quality pan, your cake is going to come out beautiful. Now it is still very hot, so I'm going to let it cool down all the way to room temperature. Now look at this baby. Can you see that bounce? If your cake does not bounce like this, just know that you failed the test. I am sorry. I can't help you. Moving on, we're going to make the ganache. I'm just going to make a quick chocolate glaze. Here I have 6 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream, and to that I am going to be adding half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. These are the mini ones. That's all I had in my pantry, but the important thing is semi-sweet because I'm cutting down on all the sugar. So I'm going to pop this in the microwave for about a minute. I'll bring it out, stir it up, and if I need more time, I will go back in and do it. I started off with 30 seconds, and I went ahead, added another 30, and this was after the 1 minute mark. I brought it out, and you want to go in with your spatula or a spoon and really try to melt that chocolate in there. Again, it is up to you. If you feel that it's still lumpy, the chocolate bits are still there, just go ahead and pop it again for about another 30 seconds and it'll be fine. I did mine for a total of 1 minute and 30 seconds, and I went with the tiniest splash of vanilla. This is optional. You don't have to, but I just like vanilla in almost everything. And y'all, like I said, it took me a minute and a half, and this was the perfect glaze for my cake. It was so good, y'all. Now my cake has rested, and can you see it is cool and it's still jiggly? Girl, you know I did something good over here. So yeah, just go ahead and drizzle that chocolate glaze all over your cake. And this right here, let me tell you, it adds the perfect hint of sweetness. One thing I noticed about this cake, it is not overly sweet. Maybe it's also because I did not add the chocolate pudding mix, which I usually do in my box cake mixes, but I just wanted to give this a try without adding too much. But that Ghirardelli cocoa powder I added really elevated it, and it's so beautiful. Can you see how I'm just gliding through that cake? It is beautiful. It is so moist. It is so moist. So I highly recommend that you substitute the water with milk. It just made a whole lot of difference. And do not skip out on that vegetable oil. Chocolate cake, in my opinion, needs vegetable oil for that moisture. The butter is going to add richness and flavor, but you see that vegetable oil, you need it to keep it nice and moist, even at room temperature. This was the taste test, and I know y'all love it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye, y'all.